I am Hilmi Lavcı. My episode is San Salvador, Republic of El Salvador. I started with El Salvador's climate based on Köppen-Geiger climate classification. The climate of El Salvador consists for the greater part of two tropical climates according to the Köppen-Geiger climate classification: the tropical monsoon climate type AM and the tropical savanna climate type AW. In large parts of El Salvador prevail tropical temperatures practically throughout the year, with which the average maximum temperature varies from approximately 27-28 degrees in the autumn to 32-33 degrees centigrade in the spring. El Salvador has a clear distinction between a dry season and a rainy season. Location of El Salvador. San Salvador is the capital of El Salvador, which is located on the Chayot River in the valley of the Hammocks. San Salvador is the country's leading financial, commercial, and industrial center. And also, the city has a small cathedral and several libraries, and is the site of the National Museum of Science and Industry and the National Museum of El Salvador, as you see in the picture. In the table, you will see a climate type of El Salvador based on this climate classification. As you see, El Salvador has a tropical climate, and the mean yearly temperature observed in El Salvador is recorded to be 25.6 degree. On average, the month of January is considered to be the coldest time of year, with temperatures averaging at around 33.5 centigrade degree. As you see in the graph, the dashed blue line is the vertical climate change. If the trend line is rising from left to right, the temperature resistance is positive and San Salvador is warming indoors due to climate change. If it is horizontal, there is no clear trend. If it is decreasing, it's cooling down in accordance with the conditions of San Salvador. Lower setting graphs show temperature bands. Each color stripe represents the average temperature for a year: blue for cooler years and red for warmer years. And especially this is the same, we can read the graphs like the latest one. And as you see in this graph, the top chart shows the average total precipitation forecast for the broader San Salvador area. The dashed blue line is the linear climate change trend. If the trend line goes from left to right, the precipitation trend is positive, and it is getting wetter in San Salvador due to climate change. And as you see in the lower parts, the graph shows so-called precipitation bands. Each color stripe represents a year's total precipitation: green for wetter years and brown for drier years. We can explain this graph. Red moons are warmer than normal, blue moons are colder. In most places, you will see an increase in warmer months over the years, reflecting global warming associated with climate change. Green months are wetter and brown months are drier than normal. Architecture in San Salvador. When we look at the architectural history of El Salvador, we can make it four parts. And first is the colonial beginnings. San Salvador's architecture was once dominated by Spanish colonial styles: quaint single-story homes with thick walls made of adobe or calish, designed to keep the interiors cool in the tropical heat. And as we see, Cathedral Metropolitana in El Salvador. And second part of is post-colonial progression. The city began to embrace neoclassical and Gothic styles, reflecting a newfound independence and a desire to modernize. As we see as an example, National Theatre of El Salvador. Third of the part is mid-century modernism and beyond. The city embraced modernism, and architects began experimenting with new materials like concrete and glasses. And we see Monumento al Divino Salvador del Mundo. And last one is contemporary constructions. The cityscape is dotted with glass skyscrapers that reflect the tropical sun alongside innovative structures that push the boundaries of design. Histoire Futura is our example. And this is my model. I modeled the National Theatre of El Salvador, and this model is transferred to the Energy 3D program and take the sun uh, location according to date and hours. As you see, 22nd of December, 6 a.m. And half past 12 and 6 p.m. Shape of the the role of the house and the role of the sun you can see, and also March, June, and September. And this is my final page, and this is the end of my submission. Thank you for listening to me.